and I have something to keep me warm as we go along. And we are having a fantastic session for you today, where we're going to be having conversations on how to run a profitable business. Here at Centonomy, we are about wealth creation and lifestyle. Those are the two things that we talk about. We talk about wealth creation, we talk about lifestyle. Wealth creation, lifestyle. And we've come to appreciate that getting into business, going down the entrepreneurial route, is one of the ways that you can achieve your wealth creation goals and importantly be able to live the lifestyle that you want. So today you're in for a wonderful treat. I'm super excited to be with you this morning. My name is Muito and I have the pleasure of being your moderator today. So as we get into our session, I just want to share a few housekeeping rules and just some things that I want us to be able to have in the back of our mind. Thank you. I see we are at 89 participants. Fantastic. Great. Thank you for coming through so early on a cold morning here in Nairobi. I invite you to use the chat to share any thoughts, any comments. We'll also be asking the various speakers who are coming on board to also be sharing some to respond to you, but also share their contact information. So feel free to go into the chat and share. Again, I request please mute yourself if you have a situation. If maybe your mic is not working or you're not able to hear, again, I'll urge you to go into the chat. We have our colleagues there who are going through that, and they'll be able to assist you. Should you have any other issue or you have other people you want to invite, this is also being streamed on our Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. And so what you're getting here, they will also be able to access it there. And again, if you also have a problem with your Zoom, I know sometimes technology fails us at the most inopportune of moments. Feel free to migrate onto our social media platforms. You will be connected with us in much the same way. If you have a question, if you have a comment, please put it in there. I'll also be going through those to ask our speakers. We have a fantastic panel, so you're in for a treat. Importantly, you're also going to get a very special gift towards the end of today's session. So I also invite you to stick around so that we're able to engage together. For those of you who are keyboard warriors, our hashtags are Centonomy Entrepreneur. We have Grow Your Business and Profitable Business. Those are the hashtags we will be using. And today we'll be speaking around how to run a profitable business. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you excited as I am for the session that we're about to have? Now, to start us off, there is this gentleman who lit Twitter, and KOT went wild about 2 weeks ago when he began to share with us truths that we sometimes struggle with. And if you're like me, who's getting a little older, he spoke a lot of sense. He's a gentleman I have the privilege of calling my brother. Once in a while, I call him my boss. So I invite you together with myself to put a warm round of applause wherever you are to Mr. Waithaka Gatumia, the CEO of Centonomy Limited, to come and share with us some insights on how we can build a profitable business. Mr. Waithaka, how are you, sir?
Hi, brother, Mr. Kengori. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you, as always.
Good to see you as well.
Excellent.
At least one person gave a round of applause, which I'm excited about. At least one person. I saw hands being clapped. I said, okay, good. One fan around, and I'm happy about that. Thank you for starting us off real well. I really appreciate it. Thanks, James, also for that hand. Now, you have to beg for the hand. No. I'm just kidding around. As we said, guys, especially here on Zoom, if you can, kindly, if you can keep our microphones on mute and videos off, just so that we can help everyone to focus clearly on what it is that we're doing here. Kengori, this preparing for this session has been quite interesting because this has been a journey for me in terms of understanding business. It has been a journey of a couple of years now. And a major reason why I took the opportunity to work at Centonomy is because I was frustrated in my own business. I was sitting back and wondering, I'm doing work. I can see money flowing. I can see it, but I cannot see it in my account. I don't feel like I'm being wealthy. It feels like I'm doing so much work. There is money. I'm seeing it flowing between, especially from my clients to my suppliers to my workers. I see the money, but it's not changing for me. And so when we came up with this theme, Kingori, the idea was that we can begin to see clearly what a profitable business looks like. I was thinking about it as I was preparing for this, and I wanted to know where at which point I was going to put this statement. But as I wrote it and as I said it right now, I want to start off with this statement. It was going to come in later on, but I think it is the one. If we get this core statement in our minds, it will change a lot of businesses, just like it changed for me. My experience of running a business has completely shifted. And in fact, the only reason that Waceke would have entrusted me to take over running the business called Centonomy is because that mindset shift happened. So write this down, everybody who's following along, because this will be the theme of my entire discussion, and we can build up on it as we go forward. So write this down. Selling, I'm going to use a very specific product and or service. So I know people are going to resonate with this. Selling a pig or a cow or a sheep or a goat, whatever animal, or a chicken. Selling an animal at a profit is not the same as running a profitable farm.
Interesting.
Let's get this clear in our head. Selling that animal, whether it is a pig, a cow, a goat, sheep, whatever, or chicken, because we love to sell chicken. Selling one chicken at a profit, or one cow, one goat, one pig, because I chose a pig because of the example I'm going to use later on. Whatever item it is, all these people who sell products, shoes, handbags, things on Instagram. We were looking for some new beddings, and I found a really great number of Instagram pages that are selling, duvet covers, all those things. So selling one pair of shoes or a duvet cover at a profit is not the same as running a profitable business. And that was the mental shift that happened for me. Because when you begin to understand that I went to a shop somewhere in East Lee, and that's what we do. How many testimonials have you heard of people saying that you go to East Lee, you buy at like almost wholesale price. Then you go to your estate somewhere and you sell at a different price. And now apparently you're running a profitable business. No.
Yeah.
Just because you're able to sell one product or two for more than what you bought it at does not mean that you are running a profitable business. Now, if we can build from there, that's where I want to start. So let's get into it now. I hope you have a pen and paper. You're ready to go. Write this down, please. Number one, business is both a science and an art. And this is something that dawned on me recently. Business is both science and art. The science of business, write this down, is money. And here's the key. If we can begin to understand that idea, which I told you, that selling one good at a profit is not the same as running a profitable business, that is the science of running a business. And doesn't matter what area of business you're in, whether you're in service, whether you're in manufacturing, whether you're in product, whether you're in retail, does not matter which kind of business you're running, that part must work. You have to begin to understand that science, which is the money. Are we profitable? I'm going to give you examples around that, so that we are making money over and above all the costs within our business. I'm getting there. So the science of business is money. Remember I said business is both a science and an art. The art of business is everything else. So your personality, your marketing scheme, your HR policies, your go-to-market strategy, all these other things, your pricing strategy, your location, your logos, whatever it is, other than the money side, is the art of the business. Why do I say that? Because Kingori, I use this example every time I'm teaching in the entrepreneurship class because it struck me very hard. Yeah. I went to a shopping mall one time, and some of you in Kenya might be familiar with this because I know we have an audience which is much broader than this. But I went to a shopping mall here in Nairobi. What is that one on Thika Road? Gardens. It's called Garden City. Yes.
Yes.
And I sat in the we were with my children, and I sat in the cafeteria area, you know, where there are multiple places you can eat. And I sat down, I looked, you know, we are looking at what do we want to eat today? And I was struck, you know, it had not hit me before, but I was struck because there were 3 businesses selling chicken right next to each other. There's KFC, there's Korean chicken, and there's Nando's right next to them. All of them selling me what? Chicken. So what I'm trying to get at when I talk about the art of business is that the art of KFC is their recipe. It is their combinations. It is the look of the place, the experience, the pricing. But what are they selling me? Chicken, and they're trying to sell me that chicken at a profit. Just the same way as the Korean place is doing, just the same way as Nando's. 3 businesses essentially selling the same product to me in the same environment. That is the art of business. So that people are looking for that place. They're looking for that place where they're going to find something that is unique about their businesses. Don't worry, you will discover it. There are people who are wondering, is there any more space in the chicken business? Yes, you can cook that chicken differently and open up another store right next to them, so long as you have figured out the science of that business, which is the money side. Are you profitable? So once again, because we're taking notes, business is both an art and a science. The science of business is money. The art of business is everything else. Your expression of all those different items, marketing strategy, yourself, the logo, everything, the customer experience, all those are the art. Now, here's the key. Here's the key. Watch this. Watch this. The art of business has a multiplying effect. This is a key. It's simple mathematics, which my 6-year-old has started learning in school. But I want you to get this. The art of business has a multiplying effect. Now watch this. What happens, and I want to see in the chat box because we have to be interactive on this. What happens when you multiply any number by 0? What do you get in the chat box? Grace was even before I had finished my question, Grace had gotten the answer. Faith, Betty, Frederick, excellent. So watch this. See, I said the art of business has a multiplying effect. So the science of business, which is the money, we must have made money for the multiplying effect of your personality, your strategy, all those things to have the growth effect on your business that you're talking about. There must be money being made. And that's what we're going to get to today. We realized at Centonomy that we were teaching about the multiplying effect over and over again. Yes,
amesema ati zilikuwa mbili.
Kweli. When you join, please have your microphone on mute. We were teaching so much about the art element of business, dealing with fear, dealing with, strategy. How do you put together the structure of the business? Because we assumed that everybody understood that you're in business to make money. Are we together? And so what we realized was we were adding a multiplying effect, and you're multiplying against what? 0. Therefore, you're putting in effort, but there's no outcome. So here we must get this right. If we get the science part, which is the money of business, and we add the multiplying effect of your personality, your skill set, the business structure, which KJ was talking about before I came on just now, those elements of structuring, marketing, all these elements, now we are on for growth. I wanted to get that theory part out of the way. I'll come back to it shortly, but I wanted to have that in your mind as I give 3 examples, and then we can take some questions as we go forward. These are 3 practical examples that I met along the way that really changed how I think about business and how even we think about training around business. So let's go to example number 1. There was a lady in the Centonomy class. This was now the Centonomy 101 class, and we were just talking about business opportunities. You know, this is another way to generate wealth for yourself, okay? And this lady is heading towards retirement, and she had read in an article, and I know many of us have read in articles of certain businesses that will give you magical, amazing returns over time, all right? And this lady had read about pig farming. And that's the one that I want to mention now today. So she came into the class and she said, Waithaka, let me tell you, pig farming has such potential for earning. Because she read in an article that if you spend, about 40,000 shillings on is it a sow? I think that's how you pronounce it, a sow, which is impregnated. 40,000 on a sow, and you're going to be able to build a small pen for that sow. In the next 3 months, you will have 10 to 12 piglets. You spend 40,000 on that one sow, but you'll have 10 to 12 piglets. In 6 months from then, you'll be able to sell those 10 to 12 piglets for 40,000 each. Now do the multiplying. You see the multiplying effect over time. From 40,000, you can get 1 million in the next 3 years. So I said, okay, no problem. You start. And she said, guess what, Waithaka? I have started pig farming. So I've bought 2 sows. They're in that place. We've just had our first group of piglets. I forget what they're called, a batch of piglets, I guess. And they're growing. But I'm still not sure how this is going, because the farmhand who's there, the farmhand is doing various things there. They keep asking me for money on this other side. And I'm yet to see, we're about to sell our first group of piglets. I'm yet to see that profit coming in and what's going on there. Problem number 1. As she started running this pig farming business, what she did not realize is that it's not just the cost of the pig pen and the pigs. She had not factored in there's a guy called a farmhand who's taking care of these pigs. And before you've sold a single pig, that guy will ask for a payment. She had not factored in her transport, because this farm is not where she lives. So she has to travel back and forth between the 2 places, making sure things are going on. She had not factored in all the vaccinations and the various things that those pigs require in terms of maintenance before they are ready to be sold and can be sold at the prices that she was looking at. She didn't realize that not all pigs are equal, and the likely sales price is not 40,000, but is between 20,000 and 40,000. All these elements worked together to show her that even though she's able to sell 1 pig at a higher price, that does not mean that she's running a profitable business yet. Let me go to example number 2. This couple, I was at a conference, came up to me, and the couple came and said, Waithaka, we need to have a talk. So either you're pulled aside and you're sitting there, and now you've been told, now let's have a real discussion. And I could see the stress on this man's face because he was trying to be a loving husband, but his wife and he didn't know how to express to his wife where his frustration was coming from. They had financed together as a couple a boutique in which this lady was importing certain elements from Turkey, some handbags, leather, and some few household goods, including carpets and various things like that. She was also sourcing some items from Italy, the same business I was talking about earlier on. and bringing them in handbags and a few other things that she was selling. So they had financed it together. But monthly, she can see, and this is the thing, this business, again, she says, has potential because she's seeing, I am buying this handbag at 400 shillings in Eastleigh. In my shop, I'm able to sell that same handbag at 1,500 shillings, and people are buying. So she's seeing there's some money coming in. I'm selling items that are profit, but for some reason, at the end of the month, I'm still having to ask my husband, hey, you know, there's still a bit of rent we need to pay for the business. There's still a little bit of what is it called? Salaries for the clerk who's at the business. And you could tell he's wondering, how long are we going to be pumping money into this business? Because he has a job and she's working at the boutique. And so we began to look at it and say, when you started this, had you done the calculations to figure out, it is not just selling one handbag, the difference between the handbag and that cost. No, there are costs to running a business. The last example that we're going to look at is that we're going to begin to see a lady who I met in Nakuru. Nakuru is one of the towns here in Kenya. And she was running a salon. And we were talking about this issue of profitability. And at some point, I just mentioned, because this is something that, again, just seems natural, even as we're going forward. I mentioned to her, do your team members, each one of the people who are working, the ladies in the hairdressing, the gentleman who's doing nails, the other people who are there, do each one of them have targets for bringing in cash on a monthly basis? And this lady looked at me shocked. And she was like, targets? What do you mean? What do you mean targets? I can't send them out of the shop. I mean, this is how her mind had been blocked, right? She was saying, I can't, if I tell these people to go and look for customers, who's going to be in the salon to take care of customers when they arrive? And I said to this lady, you see, having a target does not mean that you have to leave the shop. I told her, simply having a target means that you have to solve the problem of how to bring people into the store. And I asked her, each one of these members of your team, do they have one of these called a mobile phone? She said, yes. Do they have a list? Do they have on their phone contacts for everybody who has come to the store before and has been used? Yes. Can they not send a message every month to each one of those clients and say, hey, I've not seen you in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. The hair must be looking a bit shabby. Can they come in for? And she was like, yes. But what do we base these targets on? And at that moment, when she said that, I began to realize, yet again, she did not understand the profitability of her business. So let's talk about that even as we go. So here's the difference. There is a difference between what we call gross profit and net profit. So write this down. Gross profit is realized exactly as we've been talking about, where you purchase an item, whatever it is, could be a cup like this, and you go into the market and sell that item for a higher price. So that initial margin is what we call gross profit. Now, let's apply this to our lives. If it is a side hustle, which means I have a job, like right now I'm employed in Centonomy, I have my income, which is coming from the business that is paying me my salary on a regular basis. If I go out and spend my time, and this is what we encourage people to do at Centonomy, look, you have extra time on a weekend like this, why don't you go and purchase a few glasses and try and see if you can sell them at a higher price? No problem. That mathematics works because I have my own source of income that is supplementing that business, which I'm doing as a side hustle. I have everything in my life is taken care of. All I'm doing is trying to increase on the returns on my money. So like the lady exactly that we're talking about, the lady on the pig farming, for her, while she was working, she was getting enough income to pay for that farmhand, to pay for any of the other costs that were there, to pay for her lifestyle. So when she sells a pig, it seems profitable. But what she was not recognizing is that not all profit is the same. she was earning what we call in business gross profit. Now watch this. The next level of this, and the same thing for the lady in the boutique, that's exactly what we're talking about. The next level of profit is this, what you now begin to call net profit. So watch this. To my team, guys, as quickly as possible, as guys join, please make sure that we're muting them so that there's not distraction. The next level of profit is what we call net profit. Watch this. In that boutique and that pig farm and that salon, we have a group of expenses called, in various places, they have multiple names, but you might know them as overheads. You've heard of those overheads. You may have heard of them as operational costs or just general business costs, which for a business to be profitable, we must cater for them. So watch this. Watch this. In that pig farm, I need your help in the chat box. Begin to list in the chat box as quickly as possible what you see as overheads or operational costs of that pig farm. Kindly, quickly in the chat box, because I need your help. So Grace, thank you so much. There's transport, because there's feeds are coming along. Feeds, salaries, because she had not thought about the salary of the guy who was working there. Water, which becomes an issue. Expenses, all those things. Vaccinations, vet services. Look at that, maintenance. All the things that you have written there. So I'm encouraged that you're part of it. There is one major cost that many entrepreneurs, myself included, when I was running my business earlier on, one major cost that we often forget. Can I point them out to you? Phyllis, me. So when you talk about salaries, the one person that we often forget in our business is ourselves. Can I tell you, the lady who was running the pig business and the lady running the boutique, both of them were not taking a salary from their business. Both of them would take money out of the business only if there was some money left after paying everybody else. They had not accounted for, watch this, they had not accounted for the work that they are doing. And I know this one is tough for many of us to begin to get, but you don't understand that you are doing a significant amount of work within your business. Now, I'm not talking about just paying yourself whatever salary comes to mind, but what I'm talking about is, have you accounted for the work that you are doing within your business? Because without accounting for it, then it means that the production of that business is coming at a cost that is not sustainable. Essentially, in this I'm going to use tough words. Essentially, your business is functioning on slave labor, yours. You are a slave in your own business because you had not accounted for the work that your business is doing. So here's that you are doing, in your business. So now watch this. A profitable business is one in which there is net profit, which means there is profit after all the costs have been covered. Not just the cost of the goods or the services that are being prepared, but all costs. Watch this. You achieve that point of profitability after you have achieved this. Write this down, your break-even point. Now, this term called break-even point has been misunderstood because it's used in two different separate spaces. So let me define it for you so that you can understand why there was a misunderstanding, okay? The break-even point of a business is this. It is the point at which the sales revenue, the money that you're making from selling your goods or services, the money that you're making from selling your goods or services is the same or equal to the fixed costs plus the variable costs of that business. Okay? So the fixed costs are like your operational costs. They're your overheads, the rent that you're paying, the salaries that you're paying, those other elements, all that go into the running of electricity, water, utilities, all those things, plus the variable costs, which is the cost of production, the cost of goods and all those elements. When all your costs, all costs in that business are equal, exactly equal to the cash flow, the revenue being produced by that business, that is called the break-even point. So at that point, the business has not made a profit, neither has the business made a loss. Are we together? So at that point, the business has not made, I have seen businesses, come on, you can do the research that you want, multi-billion-dollar businesses that break even. They are not profitable, neither have they made a loss. They just break even. Billions of shillings are running into that business, but that is it. Are we together? So the break-even point in a business is the point at which the sales revenue or the revenue that the business is generating is exactly equal to what? The costs of running that business. At that point, you have not made a profit, neither have you made a loss. If you now make any more money than that break-even point, now you have become a profitable business. Now you have become a profitable business. So, watch this. The reason that we are confused by this terminology is this. In investment, break-even point is this. When the market price of an asset is the same as the original cost. So many business owners try and use that same terminology for their own businesses. Watch this. So they say, I am going to get into the transport business. I'm going to buy a motorbike. The motorbike costs me 100,000 shillings to buy, $1,000 to buy that motorbike. So when this business eventually pays me 100,000 shillings or $1,000, I have now broken even. No, that is not the break-even point of your business. The break-even point of your business is when the cost of running that business equal the revenue of running that business where there is no profit or loss. That is what we must begin to understand. So now watch this. I had to sit down with these people and begin to explain, and we spend a whole 3-hour session in the Centonomy class working on this, how I make money from my business. Because I can see all the questions coming in the chat box. So how do I decide how much salary I should pay myself and do all these things? This is simple mathematics, which we will do in the class. It's very simple, but it has to be based on the same discussion that we have had here on break-even point. Entrepreneurs, and this is why entrepreneurs tend to be the wealthiest people. I'm going to give you very quickly as I end now. Very quickly, entrepreneurs tend to be the wealthiest people in the world because they eat 3 times from their business. How do you make money from your business? Number 1, you take a salary. And when we talk about a salary, it's not just any salary that you want. It's based on the work that you are doing within that business. If you want a benchmark, you have to look at the work that you are doing within that business. Number 2, you make money from the profits of the business. But the money you make is not called profit. It is called a wonderful name that you have heard many times. It's called a dividend. A dividend is a portion of that profit that you make at the end of the year or at the end of a financial period. You cannot take a dividend if your business has not broken even and returned what we call a net profit. Because the dividend is a portion of that net profit that not all of it, because you need to reinvest some of that money for the business to continue to run. And number 3, as an entrepreneur, you eat from your business when you bring other people on board. Other people will see that there's profitability, and that's what we have been able to go. So we have to begin to get to that place where we're able to break even and return a profit to ourselves. If you, as an entrepreneur, are eating your what we call gross profit, when I take my cup, I bought it for 500, I sold it for 1,000. If I take my 500, you are not in business. Business is when you are able to return what we call a net profit from your business. So for each one of these examples that I gave you, the pig farmer, the boutique, and the salon, we needed to sit down with them. We needed to sit down with them and begin to craft how the business structure would be. What are the entire costs within that business, including the entrepreneur, if the entrepreneur is invested? We had to include is working within that business. How much does it cost for the work that they are producing? How much do all the other costs begin to get? And then now, watch this, because this was the final point that I'm going to give, Kiori, before we take questions. Because we have worked what the total cost of running this business is, we can now say, what are the targets of running this business? Just like the lady in the salon, when she understood the total cost, now she can begin to say, oh, so each one of my people in the salon needs to bring in at least 10 clients per month for us to be profitable. Please, everyone who is an entrepreneur here who has been employed before, watch this. When you are working at that corporate or whichever business it is that you are working at, did you notice that at the beginning of the year, everybody received a target as to what they are supposed to achieve in their business, in that business? There is a reason. And the reason is this: if we do not hit those targets, then our business will get into a loss position and cannot be sustainable over time. So when you have understood the total costs of your business, you can now put together targets. So that for the pig farming business, we worked it out that it is not just buying one sow and having piglets every so often. For the business to be profitable, we realized that she needs a minimum of 5 sows to start off with, and those 5 sows are continuously producing piglets over time. That now became, do you see the target now shifted? Yes, you will make money, but it is not sustainable because, as I said at the very beginning of this session, selling one pig at a profit is not the same as running a profitable pig farm. My wife is a coach, and we have worked it out with her, and we've been trying to figure out for her business as a coach, because now we're talking about the service side. We're talking about how do we, in the service element of business, how many clients does she need to deal with on a regular basis for this business to be profitable? She had to figure out that actual number, because you see, it looks so good. I have 2 clients, wonderful. Each one of them is paying me 30,000 shillings per month. Excellent, very good. But your costs in your life and your business are 80,000 shillings. So you're making money, but you're not profitable. If we do not get this idea of actual profitability correct, if we don't get it correct, doesn't matter how much we talk about sales strategy, marketing strategy, we talk about all these other things in the business, which we talked about, which is the art side of the business, we cannot have a discussion on profitability. So I want us to end at that point. I hope you've written down the points that I've been writing, but we spend a significant amount of time in the Centonomy Entrepreneur program. We spend hours understanding this idea of profitability, because that's what sets businesses apart. Last example, Kingori, sorry, I know I've taken more than my time that I was
No, go for it.
People always look. I don't know how many of you are like me and have wondered. You see multi-billion-dollar businesses, You know, businesses like that we have interacted with, businesses like Uber, and you read in the newspaper or the articles that you've been reading that these businesses are not profitable. They have not broken even yet. And you wonder, how is it that they are functioning for so many years and there's no, you know, that they have no profits to talk about? It's because we have not understood this science side of business, which is the money end. So long as they have investment money flowing into them, profitability does not become a priority. For businesses like Uber, what are they looking for? They're looking for expansion. So they're looking for growth. Profit is not their current goal, even as they move forward, because they want to get to market dominance. Then they will transfer it to profitability. That's the goal. But if you didn't understand that principle, now you understand why Uber is like a side hustle, essentially, because it has cash flows coming into the business, not necessarily from sales. You can do the same even with your own business, but always looking forward to the point at which your business is going to become actually profitable. You'll be able then from this, not only to set targets, but to also know, is my business actually viable? You know, this is a question that comes up many times. People come and ask, how do I know if this business is viable? You can only tell if it's viable if after a specific target amount of time, that business breaks even and begins to return a profit. This is simple mathematics, but if we don't get it, we cannot have a real discussion around it. So one more time, because I know people missed it at the beginning. Selling a product at a profit, one product at a profit, is not the same as running a profitable business. And that is why we get confused and struggle when we try and transfer from a side hustle into an actual business. And that's what we are here at Centonomy to help with. Kingori, if you let me talk, I'll do the whole 3-hour class.
At some point, I was about to say amen. I was getting ready to jump. I know you saw me do a little hop. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. You can see why he lit up Twitter and YouTube a few weeks ago, because this gentleman speaks truth. And I love what you said. Selling at a profit is not the same as running a profitable business. Yeah, Purity put a comment which I thought captures it. It's Kohorania Besha. You're just shuffling money, taking from this side, putting it to this end, and really that's what you're doing. You're collecting from your service provider, your clients, and simply transferring it. If you've taken a loan, if you have somebody else on the other side who's claiming money from you, from your employees, and you're just left hanging there. Thank you so much. I know we have a bit of time, so I want to give you a chance to just grab a quick cup of water. As I do just a quick recap, do a bit of housekeeping. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are now at 231 participants here on Zoom. Again, I request as you come in, please mute yourself so that we're able just to have an environment where we're able to engage with our speakers. As you can hear, there's a wealth of knowledge. We appreciate that you could be joining us from outside the country, from wherever you are. So please, let's interact in the chat. Tell us where you're coming from. I'm in the leafy, cold Kiambu area. So drop in the chat where you're joining us from and ask your questions as we continue to engage. Waithaka, question, and I've seen that put in the chat. A lot of people are asking, at what point do I start paying myself as an entrepreneur?
Again, Kingori, I'm really grateful for this question, because it is meaningful to us, right? As we have that discussion. The question is not so much at what, we have to begin to ask the right questions, because sometimes that's the issue that we face. The issue is this: is the business able to pay for the work that is happening within that business? That is the key. So it stops being about myself. It starts being about, for the work that I'm doing, is the business actually able to pay for that work? Whether it is me or someone else doing that work. For some reason, we separate ourselves, you know, like the lady who's doing the pig farm or the boutique lady, the clerk who's there or the pig or the farmhand, it makes sense. We need to pay them because they're working there. But for some reason, we don't see the work that we are doing in that business. We are marketing, we're the one who sold, you know, bought the pigs, we bought the clothes and everything that were there. We're the ones selling it on Instagram. We're the ones doing all that work. For some reason, we don't see that work as having value. And I think this is a problem, Kingori, of how we value ourselves, especially as Africans.
True.
Because we don't seem to see that the work that we do, it is valuable. So watch this. No matter how you look at it, that work is part of the functioning of your business. If you don't account for it, even if you don't take money for it, now account for it, which means if you are unable to pay that amount during that period of time, you have not yet gotten to profitability. So you should essentially be paying yourself from the beginning for the work that is being done within that business. Whatever amount of work that is being done, you should be paying yourself. Now, we do so. We actually pay ourselves, but we don't realize that we're doing it. We draw, for instance, from our savings to take care of our lives because we need money to survive, isn't it, Kingori? So we are paying ourselves from our savings, but we don't recognize that those savings form part of the capital of running that business. Why? Because the business could not run without me. And so I am actually capitalizing my business from my savings to allow me to be able to run. So my savings actually form part of the capital. I am actually paying myself for going into that. So here's the thing. The key, Kingori, is that you account for the work being done in that business. And if you are the entrepreneur and you're working in that business, account for it. It may not be the salary that you have been dreaming about. You know, you're thinking 300,000, whatever. But the business, the way it is, and the work that it's producing for what you are doing should pay somebody maybe 30,000 shillings. Pay yourself that amount. Because what it's doing is beginning to show that this business in and of itself is sustainable and profitable. But if you have not accounted for it, then you can't do what you're talking about here as a business. It's not going to get to profitability.
Fantastic.
So you must account for the work done.
Yeah, I love that. And that you're saying that it's not, the business does not necessarily have to be at a point where it's paying me that magic figure. But as long as I am accounting for it and I'm growing and I'm making sure that there's an account of my input because I'm actually doing work in the business. Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Judith is saying that it's an excellent point. Allow me to also just go through the chat and pick different questions. Thank you. We have Simon in Kisumu. We have Dennis in Nyeri. Those some I saw. We have Evans joining us from Cameroon. We have Marcia from my beautiful Kampala, Uganda. I love that place. Esther Kaleche, you're in the dream location of Diani, Kenya, the one place I am dying to be at. But thank you so much. Can I respond
to something here, please?
Yes, go for it.
Go for the next question.
Yes.
Watch this. First of all, let me mention to everybody who's here on Zoom, this session is being recorded as we are right now. It is actually live on our social media, on YouTube and on Facebook. It will be available in totality on those spaces. So in case you came in late, don't worry, you will find it on those pages later on, and you can pick up on the notes that are there. But there was a question here, Kingori, that I wanted to respond to. This one was from Bernard. Bernard in Litein, Kericho. Litein, Kericho County. Please clarify again, when do I know my business has reached break-even point? Watch this. Break-even point is the point at which the revenue, the sales revenue, the cash the business is bringing in is equal to all the costs of running that business. All the costs. That is your fixed costs, also known as operational costs, also known as overheads, plus the variable costs of producing the product or service. All the costs, when they're equal to the sales revenue, at that point you have broken even. You have not made a loss, neither have you made a profit. So at that point you have broken even. And one of the major mistakes that we make as entrepreneurs is we don't make ourselves a cost in our business. So when we make ourselves a cost, as part of those costs, it'll adjust the break-even point, and we must have targets as to when we reach that point. Otherwise, we will forever be looking for cash from outside, from our business, from our employment, from our savings, from our spouses, from any investors, cash flow into the business to cover those costs. Bernard, I hope that has made it clear for you, so that you're not looking for when will this business itajilipa lini. That's not the measure of profitability in business. That is profitability in investment. And that's why we get that mistake. So I hope that has helped you, Bernard. Have you found another question, Kingori?
Yes, there's a question from Grace, which I want to tie in with a few other comments around what's the distinction, or at what point does a side hustle transition into a business, or are they the same thing?
So they can be the same thing, but the likelihood is that they're not. So a side hustle is when you're making sales, which are funded by your current income. So you have an income that is coming in, and that is funding your sales process. So I have my job, so I go and buy shoes from wherever you buy shoes, China or wherever it is, I import them, and then I put them on my Instagram and I sell those shoes at a gross profit. I'm now trying to separate those two elements. At that point, the sale of shoes does not need to pay for my rent, does not need to pay for my school fees for my children and all. All that the sale of those shoes is doing is adding more to my current income. So it is not covering those costs. That is a side hustle. But the moment at which the sales from the shoes begins to pay for my time, begins to pay for the marketing, begins to pay for the space in which those shoes are being stored, and we're beginning to cover all the costs for running that business, now we are in business. That's where the shift is from side hustle to business. So it's possible for it to be both, but the key is that element of sustainability within it.
And I love that word, sustainability, viability. Because if we're coming into business, the idea is I want to pay myself. I need to pay for my life. And if we're talking about wealth creation, is if the business cannot survive outside of myself, really, then I need to rethink. The question of what is the difference between gross profit, net profit keeps coming up. So I want us to segue into you giving us a bit more information around the course, because I trust as we go through that, it will also capture some of the questions that are coming up and the conversations, because those are the essence of what the program is about. So I want to allow you to take us into that, and then we'll also pick up a few more questions. Also to acknowledge we have Rosemary Lavender joining us from Tororo, Uganda.
Wow.
Thank you so much for that. And everybody, Nakuru, I've seen Buruburu, Josephine, thank you for that. I've seen we have Mombasa, Karibuni Sana, guys. We're really excited. Gil, brilliant. I saw Garissa, Steve, thank you so much for that. So yes, Waithaka, over to you. If you could just walk us through the program, and then we'll pick questions as we go along.
All right. Kingori, so this is the Centonomy Entrepreneur program. It is a 14-week program. You only come for one class per week during those 14 weeks because we know you are busy. You don't have the time to be in every day. No, one class per week over those 14 weeks that you're going to be coming for 3 hours, either in the evening during the week or Saturday morning like now. And essentially what we're trying to do is to build structure and strategies, especially in a digital world, how to raise and manage capital, what we've been talking about here. This is what we must do. And then accounting, tax, and legal procedures, because we said the science of business, if it is a zero, if you have not made profit there, no matter how much we have the multiplying effect of the art of business, you will continuously have zero returns. You have to have profitability. When you add the multiplying effect of the art, then the business grows. We're starting the classes on the 8th of September, so you have time to prepare and to get into it. As I said, 1 module per week, and this is how the program is laid out. These are the 14 modules that you go through. There is a progression. There is a story that you're working through for us to get to there. It starts off with the mindset of an entrepreneur. If we don't get our mindset ready, we'll be shocked by how long it takes to get to profitability, the kind of choices that you have to make in order to get to profitability. So we have to deal with that. So we deal with the mindset of an entrepreneur and the choices that you're going to do. Then we get into design thinking, the big opportunity. And there's a process called design thinking, which is understanding the market, the product and the market that you're going to get into. We then get into fear and vision, because let me tell you, as an entrepreneur, you're managing your mind more than anything else. And we try and deal with that at the beginning. Then we get into what we are talking about today. How do I make money from my business? Because the old thinking was that if I've sold, as I said, the product for a higher price than what I bought it, that's my money. No. In fact, we tell ourselves that even after the business has broken even and we've made a business profit, a net profit, that's my money. No. And if we understand those concepts, we'll stop stealing from our own businesses to help them grow and be sustainable over time. Then we get into structure and strategy, because that's the differentiator in most businesses. Then we get now into the technical classes, marketing. And these are all taught by industry experts. These are people who are experts in their field, but we've looked for people who are not just experts who have head knowledge. We've looked for people who are experts, but they are also entrepreneurs. So they've gone through the same things that you're going through as an entrepreneur in the development of your business, okay? So marketing, digital marketing, then we get into accounting, part 1, because accounting we need to do multiple times. We get into working capital. How do we get the cash flow right? All those who are in businesses who have to give, credit, your supplier, your customers are requesting for 30-day, 90-day credit. So where do we get the money between when you make the sale and when you get the money? So we talk about working capital. Also talk about raising capital. Where do you get investors from? What kind of investors do you need? What kind of investment do you need within your business? And how do you relate to those investors? Then we talk about tax and how we must deal with the tax issue. We talk about the legal structures within your business. And then finally, again, one more time on accounting. And finally, we focus on you, the entrepreneur, through the personal finance for entrepreneurs, the abundant entrepreneur. Because if you don't have your personal finances in order, you can be one of the biggest liabilities within your business. So what are the options? We have 2 classes running during a week, either Wednesday at 6 p.m. East African time or Saturday morning at 9 a.m. East African time. You pick one of the 2 and you only attend one during a week. But the good thing is there's flexibility. If you know there's going to be a wedding on Saturday and that's the class day that you have, no problem. You're welcome to come in for the Wednesday class because it's the same content being taught on both days. As I said, September 8th is when we begin. Registration today, every time we have an open day like this, we always offer a discount on registration. Please take advantage of it. You're going to get 1,000 shillings off. That's about $10 off your registration. You only pay 1,100 shillings today to lock your place in the class. And then the tuition fee, you will pay in 3 monthly installments. Actually, there are 2 installment plans that you can do. Either this one, which is the traditional one, or the one I'm going to show you. Please note, we have discounted our fees during this pandemic because we know there's pressure on everybody at this point. So this is a great time to take advantage of that plan. So the 10% lockdown discount is applicable here. Usually you'd have been paying 55,000, but now it's 51,000, and you only pay in these installments. The other installment plan is called our Lipa Pole Pole, which means you would need to start immediately. In the month of August, 13, in the month of September, 13, in the month of October, 13, and finally in November when we complete 12,000 shillings. So you have both options, but you must register with 1,100 shillings or $11 US dollars today to take advantage of those payment plans. So I'm going to encourage you to do so either via M-Pesa. That is it. The details on the screen, 986850. You put in your name and then ENT so that we can identify which class you're coming from at Centonomy. So one more time, 986850. You put in your name, then ENT so that we can identify what we're doing. During the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, during the pandemic, they are all online classes simply because we have people from everywhere joining in. If we were to come into one room, that's a major risk that we are not going to take for your health. We want you to be healthy as we go. So they are all online, which means you can join the class wherever you are in the world. And it's so amazing to have classes full of people from across Africa. We've had people from Europe, from the United States, Asia, and as far as Australia in our classes. The only two continents we are yet to be on are South America and the Antarctica. Antarctica, I don't think there are enough people there. And South America, it's simply because we're not yet speaking Portuguese or Spanish. And so once we get into those spaces, we'll be there. So you'll be in a class with different experiences, a great place to network. But the point is to make those payments today. So I kindly invite you, if for international students, you're outside of Kenya, you can just quickly take a screenshot of that, or with your phone, just take a shot of that so that you can be able to make the payment today. And we'll be able to assist you with that discount, not only on the fee, but also on the registration, so that you pay only 1,100 shillings or $11 US for you to be in the class. Kengori, I hope I've explained properly.
Oh, you have done a fantastic job. You have also laid out, guys, when we were starting, I mentioned to you that we have a special offer for you today. And coming from the CEO, you know it's legit, you know it's solid. All you need to do is tell Ruby, who's coordinating, is Waithaka said, if I sign up today, it is 1,100. You've already seen that the classes are online, so that gives a lot of convenience. Invite other people. You may have a sibling, you may have a cousin, you may have a friend who's thinking about going into business. As you've heard, you can transition your side hustle into a profitable business. So it begins to do for you what you wanted to do. And that's the essence of what we are talking about and putting out to you. You've also heard that it's about being practical. So the trainers, you've heard Waithaka, he's going to be taking you on some of those sessions. The people who will be speaking, who will be sharing, are entrepreneurs. And so they will be sharing practical lessons that they have learned, mistakes they have made on their journey. And I love Waithaka is always very honest when we're doing these sessions and to share with you their experiences. And again, just to reiterate, it's going to be purely online. So towards the end, we'll also have those payment details up again for you to go through. So no pressure. Please invite other people to come on board, even just to listen as we go on. Yes, Ruth, we will have those coming up as we go along. Waithaka, I am hoping that you're going to stay with us because I've seen a lot of technical questions. Brilliant. I've seen very interesting questions on what percentage do I pay myself? How do I work out what I will pay my staff? At what point do I start actually paying myself, and what do I pay myself? Fantastic questions. Please keep dropping them in the chat. They are going to be picked up. Waithaka is also going to be there to engage you. We also have our team there, so they'll also continue to engage with you. Again, we're also live on our social media pages. So if you have someone who wants to join, please ask them to also join us from there. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you it's going to be a fantastic ride, and you've begun to hear some of the things that you're going to be engaging with and drilling down so that at the end of the 14 weeks, you're able to say, I have a business and implement that business. Now, the English have a saying that the proof is in the pudding. We Kenyans say, ukikula motura unajua yule ambaye ameipika. So I want to invite Rhoda Musavi. Rhoda has been through this program, and she's now the proprietor of her own business, which is she's the founder of Savi Accessories. So I want to invite Musavi to just come. There you are. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Looking very stylish.
Thank you.
Yes, you are one of the alumni of this program.
Yep.
So we want you to share with the guys who are with us today. Tell them what was your experience, and maybe you can start just by giving us a bit more detail around your business.
Okay.
Yes.
My name is Rhoda Musavi. My business is called Savi Phone Accessories on Instagram. We are online based only, and we are happy to be online based. We mainly deal with phone accessories. So basically phone cases, screen protectors, like such stuff like Apple Watch bands, anything phone related, even phone stands. So we started the business in 2016. By we, I mean you have to always associate yourself as a group, even if you're working alone in a business. So I joined the Centonomy classes in 2019. And it was quite an experience. It was that one session that I was trying to ignore because so many people had mentioned a lot about it. So me seeing an ad of it the day they have started the lessons, I was like, you know what, let me just give them a phone call, because there's no way more than 3 people can mention something and you keep ignoring it. That's when I joined the first class, which was on a Saturday. I remember Ruby was helping me sign. It was more of like a signing up. And then there's a section whereby you're being told to indicate the amount of money you make like in a month. And then one thing that I did not understand is them telling me, like, you know, by the time you're done with this session, you're going to make X amount. So me being who I am was like, that cannot be possible. So the course I learned had a different impact according to me. What I got from there was mainly me being better in what I'm doing. By being better, I mean, there are so many instances I really wanted to stop doing the business. At the same time, I still loved it. Because when I look at why I started the business, it was just for survival purposes. And that was in 2016. So it backfired 2016, 2017. Even if I kept pushing, I was not proud of it. So 2018, I was like, you know what? I'm selling things that people enjoy. I was literally selling happiness. Time went by, and it was about time, because you're making money, you don't know what to do, work is overwhelming, you still want to quit because you can't handle everything, you can't accept the fact that you need help, you don't know how to move to the next step, but you still want to do it. So Centonomy classes came in, and it changed my whole life. I am moving differently. I have grown. I have put in a lot of things in the business, whereby right now we are a team. I'm no longer working alone. I had that pressure whereby I need to have everything in order, because we're learning about taxing, accounting. There's so many things that I was not getting. And I was also forgetting that I can't do everything at a go. So we have been growing with time, and with time we've been seeing different things happening. The business has changed in ways I didn't expect. So when you look at the business, for those who actually know me, I am very picky and particular with what I get. And that's where I think we are like a few steps ahead from our competitors. So you'll find that there's always something new that even us, we didn't know can work out, but we always put the risk in availing to our clients. And when I look at, let's say, the way COVID happened in ways that not many were ready. Not many had plans for what they're going to do with their businesses. Personally, I am a risk taker, and there are things that I had implemented earlier, and also things I always implement. I believe in having more than enough stock, even if fashion is moving and changing all the time. So the impact of COVID, I only experienced it when the year started. That's when you realize that we are all feeling the pressure. We're really trying to understand what is going around, what is going to change, how are we going to still sell? And it wasn't easy, but we still got a hang of it and managed to do things. So I don't know what else I've left.
No, you've done a fantastic job. If you could allow me just to recap, because I think you've said some very important things.
Okay.
That I'd want us just to go back to. One is I'm loving how stylish you are, and you're an excellent billboard. If you could just show us that's the Apple Watch?
No, it's not an Apple Watch. It's just a smartwatch.
Ah, okay, brilliant. Are we able to access that at your shop?
My shop, you can only check on Instagram.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yes, it's called Savi for Accessories at the moment, because we are changing a few things coming next month. Like we are going to call it a big step in our business. Fantastic.
Yeah. I love that you're talking about constantly learning.
Yeah.
And how you've been able to overcome the hurdles that so many people struggle with. You have an idea, you believe in that idea, but like you said, in 2016, 2017, you just kept on hitting this wall. You go back again, you hit the same wall. But also that to tie into something Waithaka said, you have the art down.
Yeah.
So you're particular about the things that you want to stock. You're keeping it edgy. You have sufficient stock, which makes you the go-to. And then you appreciate that you're selling happiness, which is a brilliant. At the beginning, Waithaka was talking about, if you go to Garden City, there are 3 shops selling, the 3 restaurants that are selling chicken. And I'm sure you've realized even on Instagram, there's so many other people who are selling the same accessories. But you have been able to distinguish yourself. And kudos to you, kudos to what you have been sharing, and what you learned. I think also to be open to learning. I think that's a critical thing that you shared with us, that you came on board right at the beginning, right at the start of the sessions, and began to learn and adjust. And now you're in a much better place. So I want to bring back the conversation to when you came in, went through Centonomy, the entrepreneur program, and came out. What were the big learnings for you?
I can say okay, I love challenges a lot. So I personally felt challenged. Like, how do I make this money that we said I have the potential of making after learning so much at Centonomy? So there are steps I had to put in. And I remember there was a time we were being told that like journaling is something that we should get a hang of it, we should enjoy doing. And to be honest, that is not me. I hate journaling. I really hate that. So I did something different that worked for me. So instead, I sit down and I try to figure out what is it that I can do different that will change things today when tomorrow comes in. So I learned how much I have potential in doing even things that I felt were very impossible for me. And that has, to be honest, that has really changed me. I'll sit down today and I'll be like, I don't know what to do tomorrow. I don't know what can be done. But as long as I've done everything that I need to do in the morning, like going to the gym, having my breakfast, I'll sit down and I'll do something different that is going to change the business tomorrow. Sometimes it's a big risk. You don't know if you're doing something right, but you just do it. As long as I follow my gut instincts, that's what is going to be done.
Excellent.
So personally, it just taught me, like, go out there, do what you feel can work. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, it's also okay, as long as you know you tried. So even when you look at the business, things that I put in, I'm like, will these people even like anything? Will they like anything? And those are the things that when I bring, they'll even get sold out in less than 2 days. So personally, just as I said, I learned how to push myself. I knew and I felt I had potential to do better, because this is someone who doesn't know me. They're just telling you, this is the possibility of you attaining X, because you're still at a different stage. So yeah, I've slowly grown and things are actually looking quite good. That's why I'm really saying this month is just going to be amazing. I feel like I have implemented everything I've been taught.
Fantastic.
And it has taken me time. It is not something that I just woke up and said, it can be done tomorrow. Everyone's time is just different.
Fantastic. I love your last comment around time. I think sometimes we want a magic wand. You start today, tomorrow you're a billionaire. But like you said, it's time and investing. I love also something that you've spoken to, mindset. To actually believe you can run the business and have a profitable business that can grow, to begin to believe. Fantastic. I'm seeing there's a lot of conversation around you on the chat. So I'll also invite you to hang around and also engage with people. I know people will be asking what they can get at your store. So take this opportunity also to engage. If you have a question, we have Musavi with us. In closing, you shared with us a lot. What could you say to these people? We have 239 people with us on Zoom. We have guys on YouTube who are plugged in. We have on all the social media platforms. And there are people who are asking, I have an idea. Where you were in 2016. What would you say to them, having gone through this journey?
First of all, if you have an idea, get a mentor. Get a mentor. Personally, I've been doing things very blindly. I learn as I go. So I've gotten to a point whereby instead, I didn't have a mentor, but I have people I'm mentoring at the moment. Whereby I'll tell them, you need to follow step 1, 2, 3 if you want to do this and this. But before you do anything, you have to really be sure you want to do it. Because once you start, you can't stop. I can proudly say that this is the only hustle I've recognized since 2016. Whether it fails, whether it works, I am still doing it. I have not been employed since then. And it's quite a shocker to many, because they're like, you're just selling phone cases and you're surviving and you're living well. I'm like, yeah, because I'm putting in the work. I have to make sure it works. It's like, before I end this, I'd like to say something that I feel can work, because it has worked for me and I implemented it immediately after my Centonomy classes. Whereby, since I don't like to journal, I take at least 30 minutes to 1 hour, even more if I enjoy doing it at that stage. I'll research and I'll look for something new for the business. And I can't sleep without doing that. Not unless something has happened and I can't be on my phone. I'm always on my phone trying to see what is new, what is trending, what can be exciting. So I feel if you do it for your business or whatever you want to do as your hustle, you really need to be fully committed. You need to be passionate about it. So if you want to start something right now, make sure you have sat down with yourself, you've put yourself in a meeting, literally, and you have tried to see the different steps that you can always change as the time goes by. Because what you will have as an idea right now might change by the time next month comes in. And always note down what you find that is different. And it will put you on guard.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Musavi. We really, really appreciate you taking the time to share your story and your journey through business and also through the Centonomy Entrepreneur Program. Again, I invite you, please don't leave us. I know the guys are asking a lot of interesting questions in the chat. They want to engage with you, hear a bit more about your story. So please just hang around. Ladies and gentlemen, we are continuing. And as you can hear, real practical knowledge that is coming through. I'm loving the questions that are being coming through on the chat. We'll also take those as we go along. I really want to continue to appreciate. There are some powerful questions here. How do I transition from employment into business? And just to capture something Musavi said, you know, sometimes we look at side hustles as just a thing you do to supplement your income. But she is actually living on what you would call a side hustle. Why? Because through the process of the entrepreneur program, she has been able to realize a profitable business, a viable business. I hope you also captured that she started on her own. Now she has a team, and a team that is supporting her, a team that is enabling her to grow the business. So these are the various elements that you're going to be learning, encountering, engaging with. You're asking questions about mentors. As Waithaka mentioned, you'll have within your group, you'll have people from across the world, different ages, different life experiences, some who are diving into business for the first time, others who are transitioning from employment into business, and others who have been business people all their lives. So you'll have a rich engagement. And now you are in for a treat. This lady is a lady I love listening to, is a lady who has done so much, including having founded Centonomy. And in many ways, she is the reason we are here today. Waceke Nduati, karibu sana to share with these good people. We have 233. Thanks, guys, who are signed up here. We are on YouTube. We are on Twitter. We have Waceke, the founder of Centonomy, and she's here to share with us her journey and also just tell us a lot more. Let's as we get her situated, I want to ask the tech team if you could help. If you could help me.
Okay, hi Kingori. I think
I'm good.
We have
you. Excellent.
I couldn't be. Yeah. Okay. There. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I hope you're well.
Great.
Let me just adjust my light a bit. Okay. So. Okay. Hi. You can see me and hear me.
We hear you and see you perfectly.
Okay, all right. Good morning, everybody. And I'm just loving the discussion today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you, Kingori, Waithaka. You're doing a fantastic job. I always love it when we get to hear entrepreneurs. So if at any time, Kingori, you can't see me properly or hear me, let me know because my network is a bit funny where I am. So, no, I'm just glad to just be here once again talking to entrepreneurs. And I think when I was listening to Rhoda, she was just a perfect example of what I want to talk about today. Because she came to the class. Yes, we do have a section in the class where we try to get people to write something every day. But it's like she doesn't journal, so she changed it around. And isn't that what entrepreneurship is all about? We change things around. So nobody can give you a perfect formula about how things are going to work. And I know today the conversation is on money, but before I just share some experiences on money, I want to just, through my journey, just talk about key highlights. And I'll just start with what led me to Centonomy. And someone was asking about employing and transitioning from employment. So I'm just going to pick this opportunity to actually answer that in context of my own journey, because I transitioned from employment. And why did I want to leave employment? So for those of you who are there, why did I want to leave employment? You just feel something is not right. And you know it's not the same kind of job that is going to fulfill that. So you're going to work every day, but it's like you're living dead. You're alive, you're showing up 8 to 5, but something inside you is not working. So so that's what disturbed me, but I also wanted to build the kind of organization where people don't feel like that, yeah? Because this was a big company, they were stuck in their ways, it was very hard. Even when you had an idea, you'd go and tell your boss the idea, but people are like, no, it can't be done. You have to have talked to 300 other people and gotten their approval before anything can even be done. So I think the structure of the corporate world where I worked sort of made me feel extremely restricted, and that's why I left. So my job was a research analyst at a stock brokerage firm. So my first attempt at business was, that's what I know. So what did I do? Did I leave my business, my job immediately? No. And I know some people do that, but I just started after work, helping a few clients, giving them some advice on stocks. And it got to a point where I asked myself, it was not about the money. The money was nowhere close to what I was earning. What would happen if I gave this my full-time job? Because no matter what, if I'm working somewhere 8 to 5, and then attempting a few hours of running my consultancy on the side, there's a limit to where it's going to go, especially given that the format was about my ability to put my own time into the business. There are people who structured businesses where they completely set up infrastructure that is independent of them. They've got people, they've got offices, they've got all that. So that's different. But for me, it was about me giving clients advice. So that was always going to be dependent on the amount of time I personally can put into the business. So at some point, I've tested the concept, and I want to encourage anyone thinking about transitioning to do something called proof of concept. Test it out. We're always waiting to get 100 clients, but have you tried it with 1 or 2 or 3? Yeah, just do proof of concept, because I think we also want instant gratification. So we're like, I'm leaving everything I know and I'm going into business, and my business plan, because our initial business plans always project profit from the word go. Yeah. So my initial business plan has showed me I'll break even in 3 months. Well, that may not be your reality. Yeah. So just do proof of concept with the time that you have. Sorry, I have a curtain here disturbing me. Just give me a minute. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yeah.
No worries. No worries at all.
So just test it out with what you can. So I did that, and eventually I went to doing this stock brokerage business agency. I was an agent of a stockbroker full time, and that was my first business. And it taught me a very important entrepreneurship lesson, and it's the lesson of identity, or what we call brand. When I left the bank, and at that time I was working for a bank that is now known as Stanbic, before it was CFC Bank, I thought the clients I was working with at the bank, once they hear I've left, they'll all come with me to my small business. Shock. Yeah. And that's when I realized the power of identity, the power of time, the power of profile, the power of experience that I cannot instantly replicate. So I learned, even for my new business, it had to build an identity of its own. And that is the hard work. And for the kind of businesses we are encouraging you to build, even in the Centonomy Entrepreneur, it's the business that should have an identity. It is not you as the founder being the identity of the business, because that limits the business to some extent. If people had to go to Rhoda's shop and it only had to be Rhoda there selling, for her to sell anything, or she had to be the one personally selling, the business would have very limited ability to actually grow. Yeah. So we've got to move past thinking about ourselves as the business. And I think what Kingori and Waithaka were talking about money, the problem is that even if we don't move beyond thinking that, understanding that the business has a separate identity, even with money, our fundamental problem when we can't pay ourselves is because we're thinking about all that money as one. Instead of thinking the money is separate, my money is my money. The business money is the business money. Because I work for the business should pay me some money, but then I treat that money as separate. But I'll come to that later. So what I want us to move from is from being entrepreneurs in our own right to witnessing entrepreneurship in action within our business. And that is the powerful transition. That is the kind of business that you see, like the business I left, where the customer would not move because they wanted to be with CFC. Yeah, it was not about whether it was Waceke or John or Mary servicing them. They wanted to be with CFC. Then you're witnessing entrepreneurship in action. So they had protection. Even with their clients, they didn't know I tried to steal their clients. But even with their clients, they had protection from me, yeah, because it's about entrepreneurship in action. So I want you to start looking at your business and say, ask yourself, do I want to be the entrepreneur? Of course, you're running the business. You are an entrepreneur. But do I want to transition from that where I see entrepreneurship in action? In other words, where entrepreneurship works for me? Or do I want to carry the burden of being the sole entrepreneur? And for me, there are three fundamental things, mindsets that you have to witness entrepreneurship in action. The first one is a problem-solving mindset. Many of us think about business as ideas, yeah? Or we think about business as a way to sustain ourselves. Of course, it's born from ideas. Of course, business helps us meet our bills and our survival. But the root must be about problem-solving mindset. And I can just give you the way we started the Centonomy classes. At first, I was doing financial planning for people one-on-one. So I'd go to them, I sit down with them, I help them with their budget, or I help them tailor-make an education plan for their kids, yeah? And you can look at that and say, yes, I was solving a problem for them on an individual basis. And what it did for me, it was the proof of concept. There was no large investment at that point. It was simply my time. There was no office, there was no people, it was me. And can I have enough money to put fuel in my car to reach the clients? That was my prayer every day. That is the problem I had then. Will my car, will the fuel be enough? Yeah. And I did have many moments when I got there just in the nick of time before the car went off and prayed that the client would pay me in cash immediately. A check would not help me at that point. Yeah. But after doing a couple of these, I started seeing a bigger problem. I was solving a problem, what I knew how to do, a budget, an education plan, some, of course, stock brokering investments. But when I looked at the problem the client had, it was about financial security. It was about financial freedom. And this is where, and as entrepreneurs, we have to put our egos in check and understand when you're out to solve a problem, you will get a humbling moment where you realize you are not the sole solution provider. Yeah, because I realized, yes, I was able to handle small bits of their problem and I could possibly have gone on like that. Yeah. And if it was about me, it would have made enough money for me to sustain myself because they're paying me directly. But when you realize for them to reach financial freedom, they don't just need to know about shares, they need to know about property. They need to know about taxes. They need to know about estate planning, things that I do not have the expertise in doing. And also the problem of the one-on-one, another business problem was the one-on-one, because it was based on my time, growth was limited because I only have 8 hours a day. So in that 8 hours, even if I do my best, I can only give quality consultancy to 3 clients. Yeah. So the impact that we would have is very minimal. But at the same time, it became easy. When you're testing proof of concept, the answer will come. 80% of them had the same problem. So I was like, if we put these 10 people in a room together and have one class on budgeting, all of them will learn what to do. If we have another class on your balance sheet, another class on debt, another class on this, all of them will learn, yeah? but they need to learn more than I can teach. So that once you have a problem-solving mindset, you immediately start looking for ways of how the business grows, not just because you want it to grow, but because it has to grow. Yeah, I mean, it's not about just wanting, because sometimes we're so comfortable with how the business is running that we may not even want growth. Yeah, but when you start being almost addicted to the problem, then you understand. And the life of an entrepreneur is forever solving problem. So entrepreneurial businesses solve problems. They just don't have ideas. And many businesses go wrong because they start one, even before they can see it to evolve where it is actually solving a problem. They've already decided, okay, I'm selling hardware. Oh, I've also seen, I want to sell cement. Oh, there's an opportunity in goats. Oh, I want to do land. Because you're buzzing with ideas, but you never transition into a problem solver, because then you're just a hustler. You're hustling forever. And hustling may have merit for a short term, but it's extremely tiring. At some point, you will just get tired and burnt out, and you'll be wondering why you're not fulfilled. So first thing, problem solving. Second thing is attitude. And Rhoda said it, you're a student for life. You never know it all. Sometimes I come incognito into my own Centonomy 101 classes, Centonomy Entrepreneur classes, to watch Kina Kingori teach, because let me tell you, I'm still learning. I'm still making mistakes even today with money. I'm still making mistakes with the business. In fact, I have to go and even remember what I taught other people, yeah, and apply it to my own situation. So sometimes I come incognito. I'm just there. I've logged into the class. I am a student just like you. So I decided earlier on, I'm going to be a student of life. And it is by doing a student of life that I pick up on so many things. I learn so many things, because even when I'm working with a team, I approach it like a student. I don't want the burden of knowing it all. A lot of us entrepreneurs have faced the burden of I know it all. And we've tried to present that image in our businesses, to our clients, to our suppliers, to our friends, to our family. So we're carrying this burden. We enter our offices and we know it's going to be drama, because the minute you enter work, everybody is going to come and put the problem at your desk. But that is the image you have presented. And I remember I once told the team, I used to chair meetings, and I just told them, I'm no longer chairing. I don't have the answers. And once I said that, the answers that came from so many people. My first venue for training centers, I was like, I really want to use your training center. I don't have the money. And I just told the people who own the venue, that was my problem. I was like, and I don't know how to pay you. Then they're like, what is going to be your business? Okay. They worked it out for me. And then they're like, oh, so that means you can pay us in 3 months. Okay, use the venue. So I was like, oh, that's what you get from, let's stop having this ego of we want to portray that we know it all. I have not only done Centonomy classes, I have done other entrepreneurship classes and continue to do classes and learnings of some sort. And I'm continuously being shown that I don't know it all. So don't try to be it all, because burnout is a serious problem for us entrepreneurs or founders of businesses. And then it leads to the third thing. When you now are willing not to know it all, you start building an entrepreneurial culture. Yeah. This is the magic that happens when people feel like they can be entrepreneurial within your business. Just look at today's event. Yeah. Not me, not Waithaka. Ruby and the people who have supported Ruby. Ruby is the owner of Centonomy Entrepreneur. She is the business owner. She is an entrepreneur, because remember, entrepreneurship is about solving problems. There are some people who go out and solve those problems by starting their own businesses. There are some people who are going to become seriously impactful problem solvers, yeah, and even wealthier in the process by working within organizations and seeing things that they cannot see. Today, I stand proud to have a team led by Waithaka that are entrepreneurs in our own right. And for us, and we're not perfect, but we're continuing to do this. It's about entrepreneurial culture. How are we empowering people? How are we correcting what we are doing wrong? How are we learning from others? Yeah. It's about understanding when we hire. It's not about the qualifications. It's about the attitude. It's about asking questions of why do you want this job? Why do you want to be here? We don't want people who just want a job. And when you're hiring, don't hire people who are just out for a job. Hire people who are out for a cause. Yeah, a cause that connects to your cause. So your two causes are talking the same language, because it's way too tiring to just have somebody sitting there job. They're going to be living dead the way I was in that organization. And I now know that when I reached that point, I was not of value to that organization. It was time to move on. Yeah. So hire people who for that season in their life, this is the cause that they are committed to, and be willing to go through the process of how you compensate that. It could be in different structures. And I know for when it comes to hiring, so many of us are blocked because we think about, I can't afford to hire. So my brother told me something that really, because he was running a business, we started business at the same time. And I'll ask him, how are you just hiring all these people? Is there a pot of money you have somewhere that you don't have? And he said one thing, he's like, I have 30 days to figure it out. When I hire you, I don't pay you immediately. The salary doesn't come in this easy. So I have 30 days where between your brain and my brain, we will figure it out. And worst case scenario, I'll get to test your commitment to the cause. Yeah. So it's not that I don't want to pay you, but that is actually how he actually built a team. So you want people who do that. So just to wind up, last thing, and bring it back home to what we've been talking about, money. Yeah, how to make money in your business. Yesterday, I went to fuel my car. And every month I get an allowance of a certain amount from the business, because generally speaking, I use my car for business purposes, going up and down, seeing meetings and stuff like that. So I fueled it, and because we have a system, it has to come through a pay bill and everything. Someone asked me, you have an allowance? Yeah, and I was like, actually, after this, I'm on my own. I've actually used my allowance for this month. I'm on my own. But they're like, it's your business. Just do what you want. And I was like, that's the difference. No, I can't do what I want. I did found the business. Yeah, on paper, it's my business, but the business is bigger than Waceke. So I must respect the boundaries of my business. If my fuel allowance per month is 10K, it is going to be that 10K. Unless there's a reason, it is not. So first and foremost, the money problem comes because, let's face it, we don't want to have discipline. When we see money in the bank account, we want to treat that money like it's ours personally. Let's face it, we like it, we've done it. It gives us a false sense of freedom, yet it's really creating a prison. But in discipline, we don't pay ourselves, because if you decide you're paying yourself 50,000 shillings, then you know it's 50,000 shillings. What a lot of us don't want to do is, how much are you actually stealing from your business? How much are you actually spending? You don't want to be limited to the 50,000 shillings. But it creates a small business, a small thinking, because I don't want you to approach money as something just to manage for what you need. It's something to reach for. So just don't manage what you have, reach for what you need. So in your head, if you think I need 100,000 per month, that's what you're going to aim for. And you will pay bills and you'll say, today we survived, this month we survived because you got your 100,000. But if you decided you're a cost to the business and it is now 150,000, you will then reach for 150,000. And it is that attitude of reaching for what you need rather than managing what you have that will say, by the way, now I need to hire this person and I need to pay them this amount of money. We will together now with their skills, we will reach for what you need. So it's that is the whole approach with money. We are reaching for what we need, at the same time being good resource managers of what we have, but we cannot just stay stuck at what you have. So separate yourself from the business with money. And in my book, Making Sense, I write, giving money the driver's seat is too big of a job description for money. So money is there to serve you. So first, decide, what kind of business do I want to build? What is going to sustain this business that way? Yeah. Then money will actually follow. And for all of us here, I want to encourage you, because I do sit on advisory boards of even other bigger businesses. Some of the things we're talking about are much easier to implement in small businesses. We can make decisions quickly. We are fluid. We are adaptable. I've sat on committees in others, and they take forever to do these small things that we're talking about. So don't think because you own a small business, you are small. Yeah, you have the ability to set up those foundations that can actually go beyond. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And just remember, move from being the entrepreneur to witnessing entrepreneurship in action. Money, which comes to serve you, will also follow after that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Waceke. Always a pleasure listening to you tell your story. I want to just grab a few of the comments in the chat. Lillian says, wow, stealing from my own business, very educative. Grace Jenga is loving the silver in your hair. I think you're looking fantastic. Elijah is saying amazing conversation there. There was Alice, and I believe there was Alice, and I think it was Esther. I also am loving what you're saying because it's resonating with them. The issue of identity crisis. And I love that you've also been able to capture. I think the biggest issue has been ego. And I want to tie that with what people have been asking around when do I start paying myself? How do I pay myself? What does that even look like? And how you've just you removed. And I love that there's been that thread, even with Rhoda, where it's the business, you're not selling what you want, you're solving a problem. And that evolves. When you engage with the first client, second client, you're learning. So it's not you're CEO because you're CEO. You're CEO because there's an entity that you're building that is solving other people's problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know that there's a greater gospel other than the one of the Lord Jesus. But you can hear when you hear Waceke's story, and that is how we are seated here. That is how I am seated here, because she's done what she has. You're going to be experiencing what you're going to be going through to build your business. There's a question from Grace. So we'll take this as we wind up. How do we know, or how does she know, or how do I know that I have what it takes?
The only way is, I can tell you, Grace, positive thinking till, the sun sets. Yeah, think about yourself, whatever. But for me, it has always been start, test it out. And even when you fail at something, don't treat it as a bad thing, treat it as a lesson. Instead of just saying, oh, I failed, I can't do it, ask, what didn't I do? Who should I have talked to? Before, Rhoda was talking about mentorship. Is there a conversation? And even with things like mentors, don't think about a mentor who's someone who's going to sign on for 6 months to meet you once a week. Not necessarily the case. For me, mentors were just people I reached out to and said, can you have a coffee with me? That's mentorship as well. So Grace, just try. Just what's the next best thing that you can do? Let me steal from Rhoda here. What's the next best thing that you can do tomorrow to say, I've given myself a shot. I'm trying. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Waceke. Really appreciate your time. I'm seeing there's still more conversations going on in the chat. I know you'll be with us for a few more minutes.
Yes.
So let me invite us to continue to engage. Waceke is there, Rhoda is there, Waithaka is there, Ruby is also on this conversation. So whatever questions you have, please just go right in there and engage with us as we continue to have these conversations. As we segue into the last section, and just as a recap of where we've come from and the different conversations we've been having, we are putting out this program for you to be able to benefit and move your side hustle from just being a side hustle, from being this thing that you do, into a deliberate effort that establishes a business that is both profitable and viable and does for you what you need it to do for you. So as we'll, just as a quick way of recap, is engaging the mindset. You've heard from Waceke, you've heard from Rhoda, you've heard from Waithaka, the issues that we have as entrepreneurs. And I say that because I'm also learning a lot of the things I have been doing wrong, is to get the right thinking. to look at these opportunities that are there. Grace, to your question, how do you know when to do it? How do you begin to believe that you can do it? And sometimes it's just to look at your business and to be told that you have a good business and it can generate income. And I love what Rhoda was saying. A big part of her journey within Centonomy was just to appreciate that the business can be a business and there's an amount that it can generate. And then there are going to be all these questions around how then do you put in the structures that you need? How do you engage people? Rhoda is doing a digital business. Centonomy is a training business, a service-based business. Waithaka was talking about agriculture, where you're also dealing with products, tangible products. Who do you engage with? How do you engage with those people? How do you get your message across? How do you make people know you exist? Then we get into the mathematics. I don't know if you were able to catch some of the previous videos when the session was starting. A lot of entrepreneurs are afraid of the numbers. You see a balance sheet, you see an income statement, and you're just wondering, Lord Jesus, what is this? Why does it? And the first thing is you just slide it across. The gentleman who we all know, KRA, and these are things that frighten us. The legal elements of that, how do those come into play? But when you engage with this program, they become part and parcel. You're able to appreciate what these lessons mean for you as a business owner, and how you can actually begin to use them. Waithaka brought out the conversation around the third way that you can earn from your business is bringing investors or investment on board. Again, this is about team, so that you grow beyond your own reach, you grow beyond your own funding resources, you're able to bring in people to enable your business to go to that next level. I see Waithaka is with us. Waithaka, you want to jump in, maybe make one or two comments as we get into just a recap of the payment options?
Actually, King, why don't you do that? Why don't you do the recap on the payment options? I have an example I want to close with and leave people with a thought as we go.
Excellent. So again, just to recap on the different payment options, our classes are all online. So you can sign in from wherever you are. You can invite anyone from wherever they are to be able to sign in. The beauty is now with technology, you can sign in as you're commuting home. So it's open and available to you wherever you are. The classes begin on the 8th of September. It's one class a week for 14 weeks, beginning the 8th of September. We have two sessions. You have a Wednesday session, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and a Saturday class, 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And these classes are interchangeable. So if you miss the Wednesday class, you're able to catch up on the Saturday class because it's the same material that will be covered in those sessions. Again, today, and you heard it from the CEO himself, you have an offer. So if you sign up today, there's a discount of 1,000 shillings. So you'll be paying 1,100. And that is building on the 10% discount. I mean, it can't get any better than that. So first, you can pay in full, which is 51,000, which is about, how much is that in dollars, Waithaka? My mathematics fails me at this time.
$11.
$11 to sign
the
up.
registration,
yeah. Yes. And then the tuition?
It will be $510.
$510 for those of you who are away. You can pay that in full or you can pay in installments. So the first installment plan, you have 3 installments of 19, and then 13,000. There's also the other installment plan. Let me see. Yes, where you can pay over the 4 months, where you pay 13,000 every month for 3 months, and then make a final payment of 12,000. For those who are in Kenya, you can pay by M-Pesa. We have the payable 986850, 986850, and we'll have this also up towards the end. So put in your name and then remember to have ENT so that the team on the back end are able to take up your details and put you in the right class. I know Ruby is also with us, so she'll be the main person you'll be engaging with. For those of you who are overseas, these are our bank details. We'll also have this up for you so that you can take them and just take a screenshot, and when you're ready, make the payment. Remember, if you sign up today, you have a discount. We also have Waceke's book that is available directly from Centonomy, the various bookshops. For my people in Uganda, let me tell you, I love Uganda. I love it, love it, love it, love it. It's also available in Uganda. If you're in the US or anywhere else where you have access to Amazon, it's also available on Amazon. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to hand over to Waithaka. For me, it's been an absolute pleasure to have moderated this session, to understand the various components of having a profitable business. It's not just enough to be in business. It's not just enough to be picking and selling or even giving myself as a service, is that it is profitable. I thank you. God bless you. Over to you, Waithaka.
So Kingori, as you said, I think it's important for us to have some practical examples that people can refer to and begin to look at as what we were doing. Just very quickly, in case you have any more questions on registration, I've seen questions about what if we join as a group, what if we do all those things. Please reach out to ruby@centonomy.com. Her details are at the bottom of the screen there, ruby@centonomy.com. And just mention what it is that you're going through. She'll be able to assist you with any of the registration issues that we've not covered here. I've seen even, can I pay in dollars? Yes, you can. That's why we're giving the options that are there. And if you want, you can call her on the number that's at the bottom of the screen there, +254 700 80 You can see it there, +254 700 80 and she'll assist you with any of those registration issues. King, I wanted to leave people with a practical example of what we're talking about here, because especially when we're starting out, it can be problematic to see in detail what we're looking for. So let's use my dear friend Elizabeth, who we did a session with, and just use it as practically as possible, just to see how we break it down, okay? So this is Elizabeth, and this is an example of how we go through the class, obviously with a lot more details. Elizabeth said, I buy bags. So her business is bags, a handbag, sorry, I should put handbags so that we understand. And she buys them, she buys them at, what did she tell me? 700 shillings. So this is in Kenya shillings, 700. She's able to sell cost. She's able to sell them at Kenya shillings 1,500 at her shop. So wherever she sources them, she sells at that amount. In the chat box, what is her gross profit? What is her gross profit per unit that we're talking about? I want to make sure that we're working on this together, because these terminologies have to work. Great. So Kenya shillings 800. Now, when she sells one handbag, thank you so much for all those who are there. When she sells one handbag, she has not made 800 shillings because it did not cost her that amount to sell the handbag. So let's look at it in a more practical way. So what are the costs of the business that she's running? She has a shop, and the shop is on this other side of Nairobi in the Kikuyu area. So this is an actual shop we're talking about. Thank you, and that's the one that most people think about. So she pays rent, and for the stall that she's at, the rent per month is 15,000 shillings. She has utilities, water, electricity, all those other things per month. On average, because it's a small shop, it's about 4,000 shillings. She has a clerk, she has an attendant there, so that when she's going to source items in Eastleigh and other places, there's someone at the shop to sell. How much does that clerk earn? She has a few different ways of doing, but on average, per month, she's paying that clerk 8,000 bob, okay? She has marketing costs and other costs that are there. I don't have time to go through all of them, but what you need to do is to do these other costs: marketing, transport, In that area, she has a few advertising boards that are there. There's the fees that she pays to the local council and all those other costs. So when we add all those costs together, they come up to about 18,000 shillings. What have we forgotten here? So far, there's a major cost we have forgotten, Elizabeth. Thank you. Because I keep hearing people asking that question. What should Elizabeth now pay herself? So watch this. Elizabeth can have two choices. And this is one of the ways that you can look at it. Elizabeth now needs to think. If she was employed, she could think, how much would I pay somebody for the work that I'm doing? And should put in an amount there. That's what she could do. Because she can try and value the work that she's doing. But guess what? This business is how Elizabeth eats, which is why she ends up taking so much from that business on a monthly basis. Because this is where her money for life comes from. So let's assist her with this. When we were doing this with Elizabeth, I asked her, what do your personal costs are? As just a measure, okay? And she said, I have rent where I live. So this is now not rent for the business, where I live. And she said, my rent at that side, I pay 20,000 shillings. I have my personal transport costs. And she said, that's about 2,000 shillings. Okay? 2,000. I have other costs now when you put them all together, personal care, hair, family support, all those other things. When I add them together, it comes to about 14,000 shillings. Okay. So what does she need per month? And which is why she takes from the business. This can be a measure. I told you, many of the items in business, many of the items and the things that you're going to do, it's an art. There is no place where you're going to go and find there is a rule that states you must pay yourself this amount or you have to pay this, other than things like minimum wage laws and things like that. The amount you pay yourself, there's an art to it, and that's what we're going. So how much does she need per month? Let's do the quick maths. Is my maths correct? 36,000. I hope. Good. If she has 36,000 per month, her monthly costs are taken care of. Now, is Elizabeth's ambition to take home 36,000 shillings per month? No. Okay. But she needs 36,000 shillings per month in order to survive. That's the cost of her lifestyle. So we have to look at Elizabeth and say, this is what the business for her current sustainability is what she needs to have. So let's put it in there. And we say, watch this, Elizabeth becomes a cost. And what is the cost to the business? 36. This is what she needs, because this business is where she gets her money for life, which is why she keeps going back there. So someone, please, with your calculator, what are the total costs of the business at this point? People are much faster than me, and you're doing on your calculator on that side. Per month, these are monthly costs. I forgot to write there monthly. Is Dennis the only one who has gotten it? Hopefully, good. So Winnie has checked the maths. It's 81,000. That is the monthly cost of the business. Do you see now why calculating your break-even point matters so much? Because now we can make this into a target. Now we make it into what? A target. How many bags does Elizabeth need to sell in order to break even on this very simple break-even discussion we have had here? How many bags does Elizabeth need to? Come on, guys. to sell in a month. For that, we do this 81,000 divided by what? What are we dividing by? The gross profit per bag, 800. So if she sells 102 bags, what has she achieved? I just want to make sure if in 1 month she has sold 102 bags, what has Elizabeth achieved? Break even. At that, she has sold 102 bags. What is that in revenue? 102 bags is 102 times what? 800. She has brought in over 81,000 shillings, 81,600 shillings. She has not made a profit. That business at that point is not profitable. She has broken even. What would happen if Elizabeth sold 100 bags in a month? Question, what would happen in the chat box, quick, if she sold 100 bags? She would be in a loss position. What would happen if she sold 103 bags? Kingori, I rest my case. If we don't get this point right, and that is at a very simple basis, this is at a very simple position. I'm just trying to explain clearly what it means for us in business to have achieved profitability. Now, I was just using that. Now, watch this. I want everybody to go back in a past event like this for entrepreneurship. In a past event like this for entrepreneurship, we had the founder of Snack Attack, which is one of the fast food outlets that we have here in Kenya. And what he realized was he had the same issue that Elizabeth, he didn't want just like Elizabeth to be earning 36,000 shillings a month. He said that's not his ambition, but he realized his shop, like Elizabeth, this one shop can afford to pay her that 36,000. So he said, if I can get this shop to work, guess what he did? If it is profitable over time, he moved forward to open another outlet. He got funding because he could find the proof that it's profitable, opened another one and another one. And each one of them, because he's now not managing one outlet, but multiple, now it could be able to pay him the salary that he wanted. We have to get our minds around this. This is what we're going to be talking about. If we don't get this point, then now come and apply marketing to it, so that rather than selling 102 bags, we're selling 200 bags. But if we're going to sell 200 bags, we need another attendant, which changes the mathematics, because the two of us can't sell 200 bags. If we're going to now increase, now don't let just send handbags, sell plus accessories, wallets, and other things. When we have this real conversation about profit, we will see the success we want. I rest my case, Kiori.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Always a pleasure just to listen to you, to listen to Waceke, to listen to entrepreneurs like Musavi who have gone on this journey and speak to what you're saying, but also importantly are speaking practically, tangible, what we are able to engage with on a day-to-day. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sure, like myself, you have thoroughly enjoyed. You have gotten a lot of insights. I am loving the conversations that are going on in the chat. I want to appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to be with us on this platform of Zoom. Also, those who joined us on YouTube, Twitter, also on Facebook pages. Thank you so much for coming on board. Also appreciate you just sharing your insights. We want to say a very, very special thank you To you, Waithaka, for taking the time today. Waceke, as always, a pleasure just having you come and just retell the story. Rhoda, a very, very special thank you for you to just come and share your story, your journey, and to get us to appreciate the class from a student's perspective and what it has been enabled you to do. A big thank you to Ruby and the team who have been in the back, just making sure that everything is working. As we close, I want to invite Ruby, if you could also just put up the information on the costs and the payment options that are there so that people are able to have that information. Remember, all the classes are online. They begin on 8th of September. If you sign up today, there's a special discount of 1,000 or $10. So for those who are paying in Kenya shillings, it's 1,100 if you sign up today. If you're paying in USD, which is possible, you are also able to pay through the bank account, which will also be up as we continue. Once again, a special thank you. My name has been Kingori, and I'm praying for you profitability in your businesses. Praying for you profitability in your businesses. A wonderful weekend to you. Thank you and God bless.